Hello, friends. My name is Chitresh Kapoor, and welcome to Borders and Beyond. Today, we have Ambassador Hanan Goldberg. Hanan Goldberg has been ambassador to several countries like South Sudan, Eritrea, and Nepal. We actually met when I had gone to Israel, and we had a fantastic time where he told us about the history of Israel and a lot of other things. So, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for coming on Borders and Beyond, and welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, namaste, and this is really my pleasure. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. First of all, I would like to express my condolences for the horrific terror attack that has happened in Washington, D.C. Both India and Israel, unfortunately, apart from sharing this extremely old civilization, also share a very common threat, which is of extremism and something which only Israel can understand the pain that we've had in Pahalgam on 22nd October.
Yep.
And we can understand the pain. It was a cowardly attack. I heard that these two citizens of Israel were planning to get married or planning to start moving to their family life in a week or so. But this happened. So my deepest condolences, and I really hope justice can come. So what do you think, sir? When will this extremism ever end? What do you think is the next step?
First, thank you for sharing and condolences, sharing the sympathy and the condolences for the two victims, two young people that just attended a cultural event and finished and were murdered brutally by terrorists. And yes, terror is terror. The terror has no boundaries, and this is the horrific thing about terror. Once you ignore it, or you close your eyes in one place, it will come in another place. And terror has a very important meaning. And we are all familiar with the English language, and if you look at the dictionary, it actually has two double meaning, the word terror. The first meaning, which is the common one, is to take an action of violence. But the second meaning, which is not very far, it means to horrify you, to frighten you, to shake your existence. And these two meanings are not very much apart. They don't contradict, but they go together. And when the terrorists act as terrorists, it's not necessarily that they will come and shoot. Terrorizing somebody, or terrorizing a community, or terrorizing a country, or a culture is something that is familiar and that we know these days in Israel, in India, in US, and in so many countries. And this fight against terrorism is a global fight, because those that don't condemn the terror will face the consequences later. Not because we will be the ones that will attack them, also because the terror will hit themselves again. So if you are not standing against terror, beware, it will come back to you.
Mr. Ambassador, what do you have to say to United Nations, which still does not have a definition of what a terror is? They still do not have a very standard definition. And a lot of the so-called Western liberals, they keep saying one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. What do you have to say to such people?
That they are naive, that they don't see the reality and they don't see the risks. And as I'm saying, once terrorizing is hitting one place, it will very, very soon, like an octopus, reach to another place. And if you don't avoid it, and if you don't fight it, and if you don't eliminate it, then you are taking the risk. And this is why these, what we call liberal countries at United Nations, must have to understand. This is a struggle between those in the public, in the world, that are free nations with democratic values, and those that do not respect these democratic values, or support radicalism, or support fundamentalism. They are the ones that are responsible for that. So we expect, and I know that many people also in India understand the need to fight global terrorism and to understand that doing events like this is not a fight for self-proclamation or freedom fighters. This is brutal attack on our values. And this is what these terrorists are trying to change. They are trying to change us. They are trying to change the community. They are trying to change the culture, and they are doing their best. And if they think that we will not struggle, I'm sorry to say and to smile, we will struggle and we will fight and we will do anything to avoid, to eliminate terrorism wherever it is located.
But some of these countries like UK and France, they have very categorically said that unless Israel stops the military action in Gaza, they will stop trade. So do you think, what can be the reason? Is it purely political, or have they already lost the battle? Because we've already seen a lot of videos coming out. Europe is becoming the next hotbed for terrorism.
That is true, but let's put these countries, the countries that you mentioned, they are not supporting terrorism. They are the naive. They are those that believe, you know, what we call Western culture is a culture of let's compromise, let's try to understand. In this culture, when two parties are negotiating, the idea is that I will move one step, you will move one step, and then finally we'll come to the deal. This is not the action, this is not the reality with the terrorists. With terrorists, once you move forward, you'll find them even more remote and making more extreme demands. And this is what we have to expand to explain to countries like the West, like in Western Europe. They are not the supporters of terrorism. Don't put them as if they sympathize with terrorism. They sympathize with Israel, but they believe that we should take more compromises. Israel is indeed willing to take compromises, but there is one thing that a country, a culture, a society cannot take compromises. It is on our security. Once you take the compromises on your security, then you are gone. And this is why we have to keep an open dialogue with countries like this and to tell them, this is the reality, this is who we are facing on the other side, and we expect that you, as a democratic country, as an open society, as a country that is open for negotiations and free dialogue and respect of minorities, will understand.
But I somehow have a feeling that they've already lost the plot. I mean, Europe has always been fighting for the last 2000 years. But what has happened post World War II? They have become too weak. With a lot of immigration, they're letting anyone and everyone come. Even now, you really do not need too much work to get a visa to work in Europe. Now that surely can't be good. So is the political system in Europe, are they still deaf and dumb, or they're doing it purely out of politics?
This is true. This is true that Europe is facing huge challenges. And if they think that they can sit in quiet and enjoy happy life, this is not. And these challenges are things that Europe will have to understand how to deal with. The integration of people that come from different backgrounds is a big challenge for Europe. And I tell you, some of the immigrants are true immigrants that respect the country that they come. They move to a new country as a labor immigration or a cultural immigration, and they say, okay, my origins are from this country, but I'm coming to a new country as a person, but I want to integrate in the society in the UK, in France, or in any other country. This is completely positive. It's good for the individual. It can be also good for the country. The question is what happens once you talk about immigrants, people who flee their country, sometimes as asylum seekers, and they come and say, we come here, we deserted our homeland, but we want to change you. We want to change your economy. We want to change your democratic values. We want to change your family values. We think that we are better. If you think that you are better and you don't respect the situation in the country that you moved, go back. Nobody is holding them. And this is the challenge that Europe is having. And I really wish them all the best with these challenges, but they have to understand that this is a challenge. And you know what? Many people in Europe understand it. And you can't say that Europe is going one direction. They understand that the integration of newcomers is a major challenge to the country. A newcomer that does not respect the country, the laws, the values, the way of life in that country is not a newcomer. He becomes an invader. Because if you want to bring something, and that's lovely, you think that you are better, stay where you are, stay with your framework of family, of culture, or society, wherever you came from. Don't bring it with you and bring these tensions to another continent.
I'm going to discuss about the Hamas conflict. What is going to be the exit strategy, or has Hamas become the Afghanistan for Israel? So, for example, US spent 20 years to remove Taliban only to get Taliban back. So, is Israel now caught in that similar situation? What is the end goal?
With only one difference, that the distance between Kabul and Washington is 12 hours flight, and with our case, it's only 12 minutes distance by walking from Gaza. Let me tell you something about Hamas and the conflict with Hamas. Hamas is a radical organization. Hamas is a fundamentalist organization. It has an ideological message. And this message is a message of Islamic radicalism. Now, let me tell you clearly, not all Muslims are radicals and not all Muslims are fundamentalists. And the conflict that we have here in our region, in the Middle East, we always must do the best to avoid turning it into a religious conflict. A religious conflict has no solutions. Why? Because we pray to God, and you can pray here, you can pray in Delhi, you can pray wherever. Not always you get a clear answer. And even if you get answers, maybe you are the only one that can hear the answers from the gods. There is no solution with that. And there is no victorious part in religious conflict unless you eliminate the other side. By the way, this is the intention of Hamas, to eliminate the other side. And this is why we have to do our best to bring element of national conflict. National conflicts can be solved. And as I said earlier, one side will help to compromise, the other side will have to compromise. Once you respect the national rights of the other side, you can reach a solution. Sorry. But with Hamas, it is different. Because Hamas is both a national, but more than that, a radical Islamist ideology that brings to establishing an Islamic caliphate, not only in Israel. This is the beginning, but the idea is to spread and to go all over. And this is what we have to understand. And once we talk about Hamas, is to understand the ideology of Hamas. They are not looking for territory only. They are looking for the territory, they are looking for the culture, they are looking for the way of life, and they are looking for converting all the other people to respect and to join their belief. And this is something that we cannot have any dialogue. You can't make a compromise on religion. You can't be half religious and half another religion. It can't be. When you are believing in God, you are fully devoted to your belief. And this is what we hope it will continue.
So, if Hamas were to release all the hostages, does the war stop from Israel then and there?
Once Hamas will release, the war that we have at the moment in Israel has double targets. First is, again, of course, to free all the hostages. But we cannot stop there, because a day later or a year later, if Hamas will stay there, they will invade Israel again. And as I mentioned, it's 12 minutes from our urban centers. We cannot live to a reality where Hamas is continuing the leadership, the political leadership, the military leadership in Gaza. His presence in Gaza cannot continue even at the end of the war. So this is why we are saying we have no problem with the civilian population. It's not a civilian population. We must find another arrangement that is better for us, better for the Palestinians, and better for the people that are living in Gaza. And this is the idea, to find this solution. Hamas cannot remain in Gaza, and all the hostages, the way that they took the hostages, and they say, okay, we will gain political recognition because we made an act of terror. I mean, this is ridiculous. Once you respect that demand, you invite the next invasion. Here on inside Israel, in Israeli borders, in Israeli territory, with other communities, it is awful. It is going to be terrible for all of us. And this is why the issue of the hostages cannot bring Hamas any political gain, because if it will bring political gain, it will be like an invitation for the next act of terror.
Okay. And Israel problem number 2, Iran. So if you could just, to the viewers of India, give a little bit of background of how Iran and why Iran is so anti-Israel. We do not share any border. Iran and Israel does not have a border between them. So there cannot be a territorial thing. That you've taken my land, I've taken your land. So if you could just briefly talk about the Iran problem with Israel and their activities.
And I will even add that until 1978, 1979, we had cordial relations with Iran, with Tehran. We had even presence in Iran. We had all kind of cooperation with them. Once in Iran, a regime, that ideology is Islamic fundamentalism, not national Iranian ideology, Islamic radicalism, emerged to take control, they cannot limit themselves to the borders of Iran. They must export it, because this is ideology, this is belief, and more than that, this is like a religious belief. We had in the past similar thing when we had the communist bloc. The communist bloc started in Russia, in the Soviet Union, but they had the belief of exporting it. Thank God that this stage of the history is gone, and people understand that you deal with yourself, you want to improve your country, this is wonderful. But once you want to impose radically your own views, your own way of life, it brings terrible consequences. What the Iranians are doing is they are trying to export their revolution, which is almost 45 years by now, for more than 45 years by now. And this is the danger.
After Khomeini
took power. And this is the danger, because they finance. When they give donation, they don't give the donation only for good, to help the poor people. They want to change the society where they give the donation. Okay, donations are soft power. What do you do when they export ammunition, weapons, missiles. We see what happens. They exported to Yemen all these rockets to shoot at Israel, to eliminate Israel, and this is what they are doing almost daily. And we have no choice, because we cannot give hands, we cannot raise our hands and say, okay, we are what we are, and you are what we are. If you don't stay where you are, we will have to retaliate. And this is something that you have to understand in the Middle East. In the Middle East, if you only keep your borders and you being attacked and attacked and attacked, it's a sign of weakness. If you are being attacked, you have to respond. Those that attack you must understand that they will bear the consequences. And this is what we are trying to explain also to our good friends in Europe. If we are avoiding, if we do not respond to those attacks, we will have more attacks. And if you think that Israel is the problem, Israel is not the issue. You will be the next one in line.
So, I have a few friends from Iran, and they are completely different. You talk to them, they're like you're talking to any person from Europe. They're quite civilized. They're not yet radicalized as other people are. So that means there is still a glimmer of hope that, if there is a regime change or something like that, people can change.
Listen, I'll tell you, we know a lot of what is happening in Iran because we know a lot. The society in Iran are the first one that are suffering.
Yes.
From the consequences of the fundamentalism. They don't like it. And in Iran, the popularity of the regime is less than 20%. The majority, the young generation, they don't even remember days where they don't have had this dictatorship of religious dictatorship. They understand the world is free. If you are talking with people in Iran, the internet is open, the channels are open, people come and go. They know what is happening outside. They don't want it. And one day, and I hope that it will be very, very soon, once the popularity of the regime will continue to decline in Iran, then there will be a change. And the change will be in a way of collapse. We saw what happened in Syria. There was a regime there of a father and son for 40 years, maybe 50 years, and they seemed very, very stable. They had a civil war, but they survived the civil war. But then the fact that the regime, the dictatorship is unpopular means that suddenly they will collapse. And the day that they will collapse, we will all come and, the sophisticated analysts will say, it was obvious that they will collapse. I'm telling you now, they will collapse because they lost the support of the young generation, of the moderates, of the open people, the pragmatic people in Iran. And I hope that the earlier the better that they will collapse, and the world will be better, because without this radical element, the Middle East can flourish. There are a lot of moderate countries in the Middle East, a lot of pragmatic nations in the Middle East that are looking for development, and it is possible. The Middle East can be a flourishing part of the world, and I hope that once Iran is out, we will know how to implement these things.
So do you have faith in Abrahamic Accords that's going to take shape finally? Trump started it in version 1. Do you think that's going to really take it to the next level?
I believe that it is happening while we are talking. The next agreements are going to be signed and are going to be open. And because people understand that conflicts don't lead nowhere. We have the borders, we respect their borders, they respect our borders, and let's live together. And the potential in the Middle East, with the knowledge, with the energy, with the fertile lands that we have around us, with the location, is wonderful. And I'm sure that these countries will join. And President Trump had few meetings during his last visit in the Middle East, and I'm sure more countries are going to join.
Right. So I'm going to come to Israel problem number 3, which I think should be right at the maybe at the first or second level, which is Pakistan, which is our permanent enemy. And so after us Hindus, the next people they want to exterminate are Jews. What is the local? What is the local? What do they say about the problem of Pakistan? Or because the country is so far off that the people of Israel, the normal people of Israel, don't really know that there is another pest in the region which is by the name of Pakistan.
Israel and Israelis stand together with India with the challenges that you have.
Yes.
Because of the understanding, because of the history, because of the open society, because of the way that your country and Israel are building things together, and we share the same values.
Yes.
You were established as a country 1 year earlier than Israel, but your history and your culture and your tradition are thousands of years, and this is the same with us, and this is why we are going for so many years together. I must admit that Israelis are not into Pakistan to understand the Pakistan. We know that Pakistan is a danger with the radicalization. The creation of Pakistan was on a base of religion, which is very, very strange, not on nationality. And it is the time that things will happen, negotiations should start, but you must stand on what yours is yours, and you never give up, because once you give up, they will demand more. Once you give up, they don't see it as a sign of goodwill, they see it as a sign of weakness. And weakness is the last thing that you want to give, to transmit, to give your neighbors. No, we stand on our own, and we'll continue to stand on our values, on our borders, on where we are. And if they want a constant threat, a constant conflict, you have no choice. It's the same with us. You will stand and protect your country, you will stand and protect your people, and you will stand and protect your beliefs, your democracy, your religion, your way of life. This is what you want to continue. And this is why Israelis stand next to India on your conflict with Pakistan, and we will continue with it. I hope that one day there will be a new regime there that will be open, but this is a hope at the moment. I'm not sure that it is going to happen in the next few weeks.
I would say it's a wishful thinking. Even if the regime change happens, nothing's going to change at all, because for the last 80 years, the indoctrination of the people. So although they were from our background, they were always Hindus, and then they got converted 200, 300 years ago. But they do not call themselves Hindus. They say that we were either Arabs or we were Turks. So that hatred will never die. But my question was, how do the people of Israel see? Because if you were to follow their channels, they keep saying that we're going to fly our F-16. I keep making fun of them that Israel has F-35s. So how are you going to cross F-16? Israel is 5,000 kilometers away. How are you going to do that? Whereas F-16 does not have that range. But you can't expect science from such people because they are also a nuclear nation. They're an established nuclear nation. And not just that, they're also the darling of the West. Their defense minister, very recently, about 10 days back, while the Operation Sindoor was happening, they said, we have done a lot of dirty work for America. So he openly said that in an interview. So which means it's a rogue state. It is definitely a huge problem for us. But after us, it is also Israel which faces that problem.
Let me tell you about the darling of some countries. If anyone thinks that you train the snake to bite only outsiders, to do the hunting for you, be careful, because the snake will bite the ones that think that he is his darling.
Hillary
And this is
Clinton
what we
actually
are.
said that. Hillary Clinton actually said that to Pakistan.
And this is something that people have to understand. And I hope that these politicians or whoever said these remarks will understand. You make allies with countries. You can make allies with whoever you want, but if you want this alliance to be strong, you must make it with somebody that is like-minded with you. And democracy is democracy. And this is why I'm saying there is no West and East. There is democracy and non-democracy. There is open societies and there are societies that are not willing to compromise. This is the difference in the world. And in this aspect, India is part of the West, because the way that you live, the way that you talk, the way that you can have an open dialogue, open speeches, it brings you to what people call the West. The West doesn't significantly means that you are part of Western Europe. The West is also an ideological thing in your mind. And this is, when you talk about alliances between countries or interests, once you make an interest or alliance with somebody that believes and behaves at home in a different way, it cannot last forever. It is temporary coalition for a different reason. But that alliance cannot stand for a long time. This treaty, this unity cannot stand for a long time. It will not last.
So, Mr. Ambassador, in the final section, I'd like to understand what is the Israelis' way of life. In my visit, I mean, a lot of people in India, they kept saying that you're going to a country which is at war for the last year and a half. But the moment I reached, when I was there in Tel Aviv, it was completely different. People are enjoying, people are absolutely living their life. So what makes them do this? How do the local people in Israel, because there are shelters, there are bomb shelters in every 100, 200 meters or so. So while people are prepared for those shelters, but what is their mindset? How do they cope up with these things?
This is our reality. And this is our reality not only during the 77 years of our existence. We are a nation, as you know, of 3,000 years that was engaged in conflicts and issues. I will not mention here the horrors of the Second World War and the Holocaust. We know things can happen, but at the same time, we have to live. And by the way, the same things that we said about countries in the West, it's happening here as well. Many people, you see, have the joy of life, but many people are also worried. Many people are standing on what belongs to us as belongs to us and to defend ourselves, but many people would also like to compromise. We managed to have this discussion, this dialogue, this internal dialogue in a democratic way until now. You know, Israel has gone through 25 or 26 election campaigns, and we are a democracy. But you have to do and you have to leave, because a small country like Israel, we are hardly 10 million. I think we are half the size of Delhi. And people in India don't understand how small Israel. We are half the size of Delhi, and if we lose the population, we are lost. We are encircled by millions, by maybe 1 billion population of hostile countries. And you have to give your own people the joy of life, the understanding, and the solidarity. We are in this problem together, and if we are solving it, we will all flourish together. And I'm happy that during the 77 years of the State of Israel, since it was created, we have gone a long way forward. We don't have richness. We are not rich of petrol or gold or other minerals. all we have is the democracy, and the democracy is the key for development, because democracy means that you invest in the people, in the people, and you don't take the funds, the finance to minorities. Everybody has to go forward. And if you have a society that the gaps are too big, it's not good for democracy. We have to build this solidarity all the time. And this is why Israel is now one of the leading economies in terms of GDP. Israel is better than the average of the European Union. And this is going at the same time that we invest billions in the security. And you could see it, you know what is the prices of this ammunition that we have to use. And of course, the economical cost of such a war. We hope that things will stabilize and we will be able to go forward. And once it is going forward, it will be even more amazing. I know many Indians dream to come and to be here with us in Israel, and thousands do come, and I don't know how many of them you met. I meet the populations. They are very, very happy. They are extremely happy with the way of living here. And although, yes, we have the challenges of the war, I know that you don't notice it as a visitor, but we have it, and the challenge is quite difficult.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. It was really an honor speaking to you. I will love to connect with you again, and my audience would really like to know more. And if I have very specific questions, I will definitely pass them on to you.
Thank you very, very much. Again, it was a lovely opportunity to meet. It was a lovely opportunity to discuss. And we will meet again in Jerusalem, in Delhi, or in any other place. I have plans, and we will talk about it.